Hello and welcome to another video. With Halloween just around the corner, I thought I would share a fun little craft activity that I've tried with my groups. It's making a spider web with a spider. This is a great little skill that kind of brings in elements of knot tying and dexterity, which are all skills I'm always looking to develop with my groups, because knot tying on its own without a purpose is pretty dry. It's pretty hard to engage children. But if you can find an activity where motor control is part of it, then it is really fantastic. And this one, it just increases that dexterity. I mean, it may be something that works better for slightly older children that don't lose focus as quickly. But for those that have the focus, or even the parents that want to finish them off, this is a fantastic little craft. So if you're interested in seeing how to make this, then keep watching and I'll see you in a mo. So the tools and resources that you need for this are pretty simple, and most people should have most of these in their kit already. So you'll need a hazel, willow or similar bendy wood stem. So I'd say about pencil thickness and above, and I mean you can probably get away with about 1.5 meters, somewhere there. Longer is better, that way if you break a bit you can always use more. So just gathering a bit of willow or hazel, as I said, pencil thickness and below is about right. Then you'll need some string. So as I've mentioned in a previous video, I do like to use biodegradable string wherever possible, so either a bamboo yarn or this cotton string, which you can get in nice handy balls. Some pipe cleaners. It's been hard to find a natural alternative. You could maybe use some wire, which wouldn't be quite as bad, but in general I think it's acceptable to have a little bit synthetic. And then a conker or similar kind of big nut, or something to be the body of the spider. And then we have a palm drill. And that should be it that you need in terms of tools. Obviously secateurs or saw to cut this in the first place might be handy, or to cut it to size. In general, also need a pair of scissors for the string, obviously, but most cases simple. We need a hoop, we have the string, and then we have the ingredients for the spider and the tool to make the body. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a hoop out of our hazel. Now if you try and bend these just straight out and just immediately try and put them in the shape that you need them, then they tend to snap. When working with natural materials, it's best to work slowly, methodically and carefully. So I'm just going to get my thumbs pushing against the hazel, and I'm just going to start warming it up. So I'm just going to pick a section, go bend it a little bit, then move my hands up, bend it a little bit more. If I see a stiff part, I can come back to it. And just go keep moving our hand along. You see we're starting to get that bend in the shape there. If we keep moving on. Now this doesn't need to be perfectly round, and you could even adapt this to make it in a kind of Y-shaped branch. So keep bending round over. Then once we've got it into a hoop shape, we're going to adjust the size. We can bring this in and set it on there. And I'm just going to break the far end off here, because I doubt we'll need all of it. Then I'm just going to feed those pieces into the center, and end and then twist it around. Just go weave it around the outside. Having this extra bit around the outside does help keep everything together. Now I've created quite a neat hoop here, but you can go for more of a snowshoe shape. It doesn't really matter for this design. It can be any shape. Like I say, you could even create a Y shape and then have one string coming down the side that would then finish off where the web sits. Okay, so we've got our hoop, then we'll go get our string and we'll go get started on making the inside of the web. If you don't have enough string for everyone to have an individual bundle, then you'll need to portion it out. I'd say about 2 or 3 times around the circumference of your circle should be enough to get you started roughly. A little bit more doesn't really hurt, but you can also tie in extra bits if you need to. So the first thing you gotta do is just tie off the string onto the bottom of the circle or a side of the circle or somewhere, and I'm just going to do a clove hitch with an extra knot. Okay, not my favorite knot. Now the key to this, it is pretty much exactly the same way as you would make a dream catcher. And all of the knots, you can also use it to make a tree net, but that's a completely different story. We can cover that in another video. To teach this to children, what I have done is I've recreated large version of these. So I've created a big kind of 2 meter square rope circle, and then used some paracord in the middle of that, just so they can easily see what's happening. But you're going to pick a distance that you're going to go around the circle. So I'd say about a hand for me. It's fine. It doesn't matter if they're quite big spacings. You're going to start off with big lengths, and then you're going to gradually go smaller and smaller as you head towards the circle. So this will all make sense in a bit. So we're going to cross over our hoop, and then our ball here will come up that space that we've just made. That's it. And the important thing there is go then cross over. So you go pull it across. See, so it comes from there across to there. And then that will hold, that pressure on that point there will hold it in place. Choose our next section, and then we come up through the hoop like that. Go rotate it around, pick our next point, come up through the hoop. Of course, unraveling far too much string. This is one thing that children may well find challenging, and is a good skill to learn, is the art of keeping a bundle together, so you're not sitting there pulling string through for hours. If you can keep everything in one hand, switch hands, and then pull it tight. So we're just going round circle, trying to keep it even, but every single web or dream catcher will be totally unique anyway. So have some fun with the spacing and things, see what sort of patterns you can create. Then once we've come all the way around to our start, now instead of attaching to the hoop, we're going to be attaching to that inner line that we've created now. So I'm going to pick the center of that line, cross over, I can pinch that to hold it in place. There we go, through, and then up through that loop I've just made. So I was just getting a bit tangled there, so I've cut the loop, the ball short, and just taken out a length thread. Okay, so in the center, cross over, and then remember to come up through that loop just made. Then cross over, up, loop you just made. Then we come round, and we're just going to work our way around the circle. And this can go pretty quickly if you've got the dexterity. You can see as we pull on each line, we're creating those shapes. So every circuit you go around, you're going to go to the middle of the next line. Now, as we get closer to the end, it may well start looking more and more interesting. There we go, so I've kind of reached the end of my pattern here. I'm just going to pick a point and I'm just going to tie it off, just any old knot there. And cut it. Well, we have quite a neat hoop. You can see that the big spacing at the start creates bigger spacings all the way down, and then it only gets quite small at the beginning. If you go for even smaller spacings like this, if I bring other web over, you can see I went for much smaller spacings here, and then I end up with a tighter web. I also had a smaller hoop, so that affected how it would look, but essentially every single one is going to be completely unique, which is a fantastic part about this. So the next thing is to get our spider made. So to make our spider, we are going to need to drill a hole through a conker. I would recommend about a 5-6 millimeter hole as being quite good. Obviously, palm drill is the best way to do it, and if you've got a conker clamp or something to hold it in place while some of the younger children are drilling, that's good. Otherwise, it's just making sure that the palm stays out of the way, and you either do it on a hard surface or in a direction where you're not likely to poke into your own hand. But so I've got a whole episode on drilling. I will link to that as well up above. But yeah, 5-6 millimeter hole all the way through your conker. And then we're going to take pipe cleaners. Now these are quite long, and I'm going to want a shorter length of these. So go bend it in half, and then still haven't found the ideal way to cut these. Scissors do work. Pliers, probably wire cutters would be the kindest to your edges, but I'm just going to use scissors there. And then I've got a total of 4 legs, and of course when we push it through and we have a few either side, we'll have our required 8. I found the easiest way to get them through is to twist them together just lightly at one end and then push them through all at the same time. This is a great little bit of dexterity required. It's great for younger children. You can just get it through just enough. There's something to grab at the other end. And there we go. We have our spider. Now, I obviously had the temptation to make it slightly more anatomically correct on my spider, because as we all know, arachnids have the 2 body parts as opposed to just the one. If it's just the one, it's likely to be a harvestman. I don't know whether harvestmen make webs, but long story short, it's up to you how accurate you make this. But if you do want to make one with a head like that, all I did was I got a small awl and made a hole in both a conker and an acorn, and then I just put a little toothpick in to hold the two together. So if I pull his off there, so just a little toothpick to hold the two together. Otherwise you can just paint some eyes on this, put some googly eyes, put some fangs on, whatever, that's totally up to you. And then you can decide where you want the spider on the web, and you just curl the pipe cleaners around the web. And then you should also have some string left over, and then if you just double it up, overhand knot in one end, and that can go on the top, loop through loop, lark's foot, and we have a hanging spider web. As you can see, it's really simple. It can be done quite rapidly. Depends on your ages, how quickly it will work, and whether they'll continue through it. If you have a parent and a child event, this is a great one that children will start off and likely parents will finish. But it's all good because they're all getting experience, they're all having fun, they're all getting a bit of meditative work in during the session. So it's really nice. I said most of it is biodegradable apart from pipe cleaners, so it can be hung up in the woods. If you don't want to do pipe cleaners, I don't know, there might be some bramble or something that you could push through, or some thin sticks. I'd love to know some creative suggestions for what to do for the legs. There you go. If you would like to see more activity ideas, I have a full PDF that I share for free. You just need to drop your email in the mailing list sign up. I have all of the links to those down below. So it's 20 favorite activities that have stood the test of time and I use with my sessions often. With that, thank you so much for watching. Remember to make the most of every day, and happy Halloween.